If you ever wondered about what the trajectory is for a professional golfer who started out as more or less of child prodigy, had a very successful high school and amateur career, and then made their way into the professional ranks, then this show is really going to be one that you will find interesting. Because my guest today is Aaron Terrazas, and he was a child prodigy as he was a 3-time member of the Mexican junior national team as a young boy. And we follow his career from there to the IJGA, which is the International Junior Golf Academy here in the Hilton Head Island and Bluffton area, into the college ranks, and then now into the professional ranks. Aaron tells some very interesting stories, his successes, some of his challenges, how his dad, as a one-time member of the Mexican national soccer team that competed in the 1998 World Cup, started training him in the mental side when he was just a young boy, how difficult some of those things were, but how he's very happy that he went through that at such a young age because it has helped him throughout his junior, amateur, and professional career. Aaron is a wonderful kid. He was when I met him many years ago, and it's been a pleasure to watch him develop and grow and turn into the great, not only professional golfer, but human being that he has become. He's been playing well. He's going to continue to play better, and I'm sure he's going to be a name on everybody's radar in a very short period of time. And just listening to him today and the way he goes about things and discusses them, I'm sure that's going to come across to all of you out there listening to this show. So please give a big Golf 360 welcome to my friend and guest, Mr. Aaron Terrazas. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Golf 360 podcast. I'm the host, Pete Popovich. So you may be asking yourself, what is Golf 360? And Golf 360 is a show that was designed to introduce you to people associated with the game of golf to help you improve not only at your game, but also your life. Almost all of our guests are from within the industry in some way, shape, or form, but some of the guests we have are from outside the industry, and it mainly revolves around the business world with a few others scattered in here and there. Now, all of the guests that we have a few things in common. One, they all were highly successful and accomplished in their field. Two, each has something to pass along that will help you in your game and your life. And three, they were all more than willing to give back by passing along the things that they used to help them in their career, and even some of the mistakes that they made so that others don't make them in their journey. So I hope you find listening to them as enjoyable as I did interviewing them, and that each and every one of you benefits from the information that they so willingly and graciously pass along. Hey, everybody, I want to give a big shout out to a new sponsor of the Golf 360 podcast, and that's Affinity Wealth Management Group. We all work exceptionally hard for our money, and none of us can afford to let that fall into the dark abyss of the big box financial service firms and their jack of all trades and master of none mantra, which basically means you become a number within a cookie cutter model that's also often accompanied by massive fees. Your future deserves more than average returns and little attention. At Affinity Wealth Management, they ensure that your financial goals receive highly individualized, tailored attention from experts, not just advisors, who are in the industry to be great and not average. As a client of Affinity Wealth, you receive a customized solution to your customized life, keeping in mind your family's financial situation, values, and risk tolerance. Call Affinity Wealth today for a no-cost consultation with one of their experts at 724-754-8200. Again, that's 724-754-8200. Or you can also check them out on the web at www.affinitywealthmg.com. That's AFFINITYWEALTHMG.com. This podcast is brought to you in part by Just Thrive Probiotic. You may be surprised to learn that your digestive system is the key to creating and maintaining the quality of your physical, mental, and emotional health, and it's one of the body's most essential systems. That's why the majority of nutritionists today highly recommend probiotics as an indispensable nutritional supplement. As a discriminating consumer, you've probably been searching for a probiotic that is proven, potent, and effective, and you found it. Just Thrive is your best choice for maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Just Thrive Probiotic captures the power of hundreds of thousands of years of nature's design with a specialized bacillus strain formulation that guarantees survivability through the stomach and upper digestive system. Supports optimum gut health, digestive health, immune health, and delivers antioxidants. Great for adults, kids, and the whole family. Use promo code GOLF360 at www.thriveprobiotic.com for 10% off your order. All right, Mr. Aaron. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks for having me. We're good friends, and we try to stay in touch as much as we can. So thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to catch up, after a number of years, and it was fun watching you grow up from a young teenager to now you're a professional golfer. And I remember when you were at the academy, there was you and Chang and Matt Rushton, and now all you guys are playing pro golf. It's fun to see all you pursue your dreams and your passions.
Yeah, for sure. It's been quite a journey, so we're trying to enjoy it as much as we can.
Who else from your group is playing out there somewhere?
Wow, from let's say my high school class,
right? Or within a couple years, while you were there.
Oh yeah, so Rushton, he's trying to play in Europe, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I know Matt Chang, he's playing, I know he was trying to play in PGA Tour China.
Right.
Now, with COVID, I don't know exactly what he's doing, but I know he was playing out there. Myself and, to be honest with you, from a couple of years up and below, that's what I can remember.
I think Kelly Whaley, I think, turned pro last year.
Yeah,
was she your group?
Kelly. Yeah, she's the same age as me. She's the same class. She's tearing it up in the Symetra. I know she's playing very well. So that's one. And I think maybe Pear. Remember Pear Siriko from Thailand? She was trying to play for a little bit. So, yeah, she played pro golf maybe 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think right now she's focusing more on school. I'm not sure exactly what she has going on with work and school, but I know she doesn't play pro right now or as of now, yeah.
So you recently played in your first PGA Tour event at Mayakoba. That was early December, wasn't it?
Yeah, early December.
So how was it? Tell me about that. It's like a dream come true. I would have to think.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome because you're hitting range balls on with all your idols when you're growing up. I was hitting balls right next to Luke Donald. I was hitting balls right next to Patrick Rogers, Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas. So it was a nice experience. Obviously, it's fun. I wanted to look at it as it's fun for 30 minutes, but at the end of the day, you got to beat those guys if you want to win that golf tournament,
Yeah, right.
It's cool. It's cool to share locker rooms, with all the big names or whatever, but I was out there with a mentality that I obviously wanted to win the golf tournament. And I had to beat everybody.
It's a good mentality to have.
It was cool and everything, but it doesn't matter who you play against. You're trying to beat them, and the whole experience, the whole week was the dream come true, like you just said. Awesome golf course. The people in Mexico are so friendly. It was obviously the best week of the year for sure.
Was it everything you expected?
It exceeded my expectations, to be honest with you.
Okay, what way?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of how well the PGA Tour players are treated week in and week out. There's just some, for example, during COVID times, obviously you can't have anybody out there. Your family members have to get tested as well. And For a couple players, they have some VIP like passes, I guess. So it's just kind of those little benefits that make your week a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Did you have your family with you?
And
Did they?
yeah,
come over?
I had my family with me. Yeah, I had my whole family with me, my parents and my brother. They got tested Monday morning, and they tested negative, and they were able to stick around the whole week. So that was nice. And from the players' perspective, to be honest with you, they obviously they're really good players. Like, these guys are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But if a person that is trying to get to that level works the correct way, I think it's very achievable.
And what do you mean?
So yeah,
if you work
like if you work hard and if you are disciplined, you can get to that level. You
mm-hmm.
can get to the PGA Tour level, and you can compete at that level.
What was the was that? Would you say that's the biggest thing you took away from it?
Yeah, for sure. That's the biggest thing I took away from that week. I realized, even though I missed the cut, I realized that I am getting closer to that goal, which is, to become a winner on the PGA Tour, which is always what's been my goal for my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting closer to that level, and if I keep working the way I do, I think I can get to that level sooner than later.
So tell us about the week, how it went. So your folks and your brother are there, and they get tested. And who was more excited to be that you were in the event, you or your mom and dad?
Yeah, I think my dad was very excited. I think he was, he always wanted to. I think it was the second PGA Tour tournament that he was a spectator at,
mm-hmm.
but he was watching me this time, and that was very special for him. Obviously, he, you get to the resort because you're staying at a resort, and you get to the resort, you get tested, and you have to pretty much quarantine for like a few hours in your room until you test negative. Until then, you can't use any practice facilities, nothing. So we were out there. My parents were able to come out during the practice rounds. I played 9 holes with Joaquin Niemann, Carlos Ortiz, and one of my good friends that Monday qualified into that week. And we played. We had fun. I asked Joaquin a lot of questions. Carlos was the most recent winner on the PGA Tour that week because he won in Houston, which is 2 weeks before that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of cool stuff going on when you were around Carlos because a lot of players, a lot of media stuff was going on. And everything kind of builds up to the first tee shot on Thursday. Your emotions, your swing, your technique, everything kind of, I think it for me, it just kind of rushed everything, there's just so many things going on that week that you get to the first tee on Thursday and it's finally time to let it all out and to just leave that, to pretty much experience that dream,
Right. Yeah. Take it all in. I mean, you worked for it, you got there.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, everything just builds up to that first tee shot on Thursday. And there's so many emotions that actually I think I have to get better at controlling those emotions because they can take over you really, really quick.
How did you get in? What was the criteria for you getting in that event?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of 2020, there was a tournament called the Latin American Amateur Championship,
mm-hmm.
which the winner gets into the Masters.
Okay, I don't want to cut you off, but yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So before we even go down that path, let's. I don't want to ruin that yet. I just did. I hadn't. Yeah. I didn't know how you had gotten into. I thought you might have Mondayed or got an exemption, but yeah, we'll talk about that LAAC here in a little bit.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
The guys that you played with, Carlos and Joaquin, did you? Because you were on the Mexican national team for a long time. Did you know those guys growing up, or were you friends, or did you just meet them
Yeah,
at the tournament?
Carlos is a few years older than me, so I kind of knew him when he was in college and I was still a junior golfer. I knew who he was, but his brother is my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always kind of close to his family and to Carlos as well. So we got along. And Joaquin is a little, I think he's 2 years younger than me. And so I grew up playing all Latin America stuff with Joaquin more. So I actually get along with Joaquin a little bit better than Carlos because of the age, pretty much.
Right.
So yeah, it was very friendly. Like we obviously knew each other a lot, and Joaquin and I are pretty good friends, and Carlos and I are really good friends too. So it was a fun nine hole practice round that we had.
Any smack talk going on?
Yeah, a lot. But it was kind of unfair because like my buddy who his name is Isidro Benitez, he Monday qualified that week, and I just showed up to that week, and I think this was Wednesday, so I already played 18 holes of the golf course, and we get to the first tee, and Joaquin and Carlos are like, all right, well, it's Joaquin and I against you two. I go, all right, well, two tour players, two winners on the PGA Tour playing against us. We're still going to whoop your ass, We're still going to try to beat your ass. So Carlos made a 30-footer on the last hole to beat us by one. So that kind of hurt, but it's whatever.
Yeah, but I would think that they would have a lot more to lose if they lost.
Yeah.
Right? Because you guys are really going to be talking some shit. Hey, we're young guys. We just beat these tour studs and thought you guys had some game, and evidently you don't have enough.
Yeah, exactly. So me and my buddy were just like, hey, these guys are good, but we gotta beat them. Like it doesn't matter, we just gotta beat them,
Mm-hmm. Was there any talk of a rematch?
Yes. Next time I get the chance to play in a PGA Tour, hopefully not very long from now, we'll for sure get a game going there.
You can get your revenge.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And Carlos kind of made fun of us at the end when he made that putt. So yeah, I'm waiting for Carlos to give me that revenge.
Did you grow up in Mexico?
So I was born in Mexico City, and
Uh-huh.
I grew up in a couple of cities in Mexico until I was 13, 14 years old.
Uh-huh.
Then I went to the golf academy, and I finished my high school career over there. So I grew up in Mexico City, but my teenage period of my life was not in Mexico. It was in the U.S.
And when because I think I met you. You were a freshman or sophomore at the academy.
We probably met when I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, and you were here
Yeah,
a couple years
like,
already then, right?
Yeah, I was when we met. It was probably my third year there.
And
Yeah, because I was there I was in South Carolina for 5 years. So yeah, you met me when I was a sophomore. So yeah, I was there for 2 years prior to that.
And how did you get there? How did you find out about the IJGA? And to tell me how that whole process kind of played out.
Yeah, so when I was 12 years old, I got I don't know, recruited. I don't know if that's the correct word, but I became a member of the Mexican national team.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the Mexican national team had a deal with the IJGA Academy where we could come to Hilton Head for like a full week, and we could practice there. And if there was a tournament, we got some spots for the tournament and stuff. So I got to go on one of those trips to Hilton Head and to the IJGA Academy, obviously. So we practiced there. I remember Hank was there for a couple of days. And then we actually played in the tournament in Harbortown, which was the very last tournament of the year for the students at the time. And that was in December. So I played, I think I finished second. in that tournament. And
Second overall or
from
second in
there,
your age group?
second in my age group. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, second in my age group. And then I think a couple coaches saw me there, and you know, they saw that I was a pretty decent player at the time, and they communicated that they wanted me to come for a full year to the Mexican national coach, and the national coach talked to my parents, and then the next year I was there.
Were you on scholarship?
The first year I was just the golf part though, not school.
Mm-hmm.
Then when my parents they do okay for themselves, but obviously not to pay 5 years of IJGA. But when they offered me to come back the next year, I was like, well, I'll talk to my parents, and they're like, I don't know if we can pay that. Now ask them if they will give you scholarship in the school part, like academics.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got back to me and they said that it was approved and that I was on pretty much full scholarship now. So yeah, I was able to keep that scholarship for the next 4 years of my years there. So that's why I was able to spend so many years away from home.
How was that difficult, or was it being young and being away from home? What, 9 months a year, basically, or almost 10 months? And
yeah,
right,
yeah,
because you have a close family.
Yeah,
I mean, I've met your parents. If you have a very nice family, very close family, that couldn't have been easy for you or your family for you being away either.
Yeah, I think the first couple years it was very difficult for my family. It was a little harder for my family than it was for me.
Hey, you're living the dream, right?
Yeah, I was playing golf every day, and I was just trying to win golf tournaments. It wasn't that hard for me, but for my family, it was quite hard, especially for my mom, because I'm really close with my mom. So I remember when she dropped me off, she was like, crying when we were driving or whatever. But I told her that it was going to be okay. And at the time, I didn't speak English that well, so it was my fear, to not understand people or to not be able to communicate with people because my English wasn't good at all, I would say. So it was hard to adapt to a new culture, a new country, new people. All my friends from home, I probably don't have any contact with them now because of those 5 years that I was at IJGA. Now, I don't regret it at all, but it was kind of hard to just leave my friends behind,
Yeah, and I'm sure it was not easy, as you just said, but looking back, as you say, you wouldn't change it because it was a period of growth for you where you almost got forged based off you saw what you wanted to do and you took that path, and no matter how difficult it was, you did it. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I was watching one on Laird Hamilton. The big wave surfer?
Yeah.
And it was I think, what's it called? Take every wave, because if you take every one, you're going to eventually, even if you fail, you're going to learn eventually how to get, and you're going to develop and you're going to grow and you're going to know how to handle just about every wave there is. Well, he kind of grew up on the beach and surfing and bodyboarding and all this stuff, and it was, and he just kept developing and getting better and better and better. And if you don't have something sometimes that's difficult, or if somebody does it for you when you're young, you don't ever get that deep passion to push you through things that is going to help you later on, especially for him. I mean, he's one of arguably the best surfer of all time. For you, you're wanting to play with the top players in the world. So
yeah,
would you say if you didn't go through that you would have to go through it now, which would make your goal that much more difficult?
Yes. I think that the years when I was at IJGA,
Mm-hmm.
it was certainly a hard time for me. But without that, I don't think I would be where I am at right now. I think it would have been a lot harder for me to adapt to certain things. Now I think I'm a person who adapts to difficult situations very, very well and very, very fast.
Right. I would agree.
In any way, golf or life or whatever I need to go through, I think those years, more than just teaching me how to play better golf, they taught me how to be a more mature person and to be prepared for life in general.
Yeah, you have to problem solve early on. And in
Yeah.
today's world, that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Memorization is of schooling, I think, is a thing of the past. And because you have your phone in your hand, you have a computer that people read all the time. You can pull up any answer you want for just about anything, any time of day or night.
5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds. But to solve a problem, and as you said, to maneuver and how to get around things or navigate yourself in situations is extremely important. And it's very nice to hear you say that as you can reflect on that now that you're not a teenager anymore.
Yeah. Like I remember when I was at IJGA, my first year, I think that the Mexican Federation invited me to a tournament overseas. I think it was in Bristol in the UK. But I had to fly by myself, and I was 14 years old, flying overseas by myself, and getting around.
How'd you get around?
And I was so I pretty much, my mom dropped me off at the airport, and I checked in myself. I all the basics to get on the plane. And when I landed in Heathrow, I had to wait a couple hours there, catch a train by myself, and then the coach and the Mexican Federation was waiting for me in Bristol. So it was a fun experience. Obviously, let's say I didn't enjoy the airplane ride as much as I would right now because I was very nervous of what was going to happen during the trip. But next thing I noticed, I was in my hotel room with my roommate just laughing. So it was a great experience.
Back in the comfort zone.
Oh yeah, back in the comfort zone and ready to compete.
How did you get into golf? Because being on the Mexican national team or any national team, by the time you're 12 years old, you're obviously very good. So how did you get into golf, and how did you learn and develop and accelerate so quickly?
Yeah, so my dad, he played soccer growing up or professionally quite a good amount of time in Mexico, and we used to live right on a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad just he got into it. Some of his friends invited him, and then he invited me. And it was kind of funny because when I first got into it, like it was maybe 2 or 3 months when I was swinging the club for the very first time. And the golf course where we were playing at, there was a golf tournament that they were going to host, like a junior tournament, like a U.S. Kids kind of thing, but obviously not as fancy or anything, but in Mexico. And they invited me, and my dad was like, well, go play. And I barely knew how to grip a golf club. So from there on, I just kind of took off. I remember I made like a, back then you made 10 and you just pick your ball up. You couldn't even really finish the hole. So I made a couple of those. I had to pick up my ball a couple of times during that round. And I was crying and I was so sad or whatever. And my dad comes up and he's like, you want to be better, I can see. And I go, yeah. I don't like being bad at this game for sure. So he goes, well, you gotta train outside the golf course, and while you're practicing golf, you gotta train like you're the number one. Even though you're not, you gotta practice and you gotta train like you're the best. You gotta
give you that mindset. On, yeah, that's very good.
Yeah. So from there on, I think I started getting better. That was probably when I was 7. When I was 10, I was already the best player in Mexico for my age. And when I was 13, I started shooting under par consistently. like in tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just from learning from my mistakes and trying to just, every time I went to practice, that my main goal was to get just 1% better than the day before. And I think that's when I started playing a lot better, and obviously my results were a lot better than other kids that were my age. And that's how I kind of made my way into becoming a good player. Not a great player, but a good player.
Did your dad, was he your coach, or did you have a golf coach, and then but your dad would use his experience in playing at such a high level for soccer and the national team there? And then I think he played for the World Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he played in the World Cup in 1998.
Okay, so
He
he's
also
obviously a
played.
great athlete, and he understands, as you do now, that you're a professional, that dedication and the hard work that goes in. So was he? What was your dad your golf coach all the way around, or did your dad just provide insight on the mental aspects and, as you said, train like a champion, even though you're just getting started?
Yeah, yeah. My dad was more of like you said, helping me with the mental part of the game
Mm-hmm.
more than anything. Obviously, he wasn't. He was never a single digit. He wasn't. I mean, he was not a good golfer, but he was able to help me with the mindset, with the way I approach things, with all my emotions that ran through that round, through any round of golf. He helped me out with that a lot more than just, hitting the ball solid or whatever. Back then, I kind of had some coaches here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that would help me out with fundamental stuff, good grip, posture, alignment, whatever. But I give most of my junior golf credit to the mindset that my dad was able to implement in myself.
What were some other things that he told you to do in addition to, if you're going to practice and work at it, do it like a champion? What was some of the other things that you remember that really stuck with you?
Yeah, he liked to play a lot with like how mental tough I could be,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he would just he was really, or we were kind of focused quite a bit more at the time on the fitness part of the game, being fast, being in shape, being explosive. And we would just go out for a run on the beach, and would do some sprints or whatever. And he would just have me do, like, let's say 10 sprints. And when I was very tired, he had me do another 10 sprints, So right when I thought the whole session was over, when I was like very tired, he showed me that I could do just the same workout, but in a different physical level. Like you were obviously dead after 10 sprints like on the beach, but he showed me that I could do double as what I just did.
Yeah, so getting past the physical difficulties and realizing that
Exactly.
you got to you can dig deeper, and there's more in there. You just got to get your head
Yes,
around it.
exactly. Yeah, stuff like that he would do to just make me realize that there's a lot more left in that tank than what you think,
Was there ever a point that you had like a safe word or something that you knew that you were spent, and you just had to say, "Hey, Dad, look, I know that we're working on something, but I just don't have anything left today." Or did he just say, "I don't care, go do it anyway"?
Um, as the years went on, he got softer, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But when we first started doing these things, like these high level things, he was more towards the I don't care. You just get it done. You just have to get it done. I don't care if you crawl. I don't care if you just have to get it done whatever way you can, So as the years went on, he kind of understood that golf had some relation to that mindset, but there there were other things that mattered as much as this kind of things matter, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So he went a little softer. Obviously, I grew up, you know, I was older. I understood a lot more things. So he softened up. So, but it was a little bit of both. He knew how to handle really tough, and he knew when to give me a break as well.
Yeah, and I think he probably understood that as you get older, you can't go frying out your entire system training.
Yeah,
But if you have a tournament
exactly.
coming up, you can't. And it's awesome that he understood that. Instead of just
Yeah,
pushing you till you just fry yourself out. That doesn't do anyone any good.
yeah, yeah. He knew how to be tough and how to give me a break every now and
Yeah,
then,
you got a
which
good
is
dad there.
yeah, nice dude.
Did your
Nice
mom
dude.
ever give him a hard time saying that he was pushing you too hard?
Oh, she hated it. She she was she was not happy when I came home all dirty with sand all over my face and just kind of, you know, I couldn't walk for a couple of days. I was limping for a couple of days because I was so sore. But you know, it is what it is, and my mom understood. She didn't like it that much, but she couldn't really much do. She couldn't really do anything about it. Yeah.
Are you glad that you did it?
Yes, yes, and you know, I would do it to my kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I have some kids in the future, I think I would kind of do something similar to what my dad did with me.
Let me jump back to the IJGA. Let's talk about a little bit just daily life at a junior academy. Kind of run us through what your normal week would be like.
Yeah, so my first couple of years there, I went to the school in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to school in the morning or in the afternoon, but you go to school from 7:30 to 12:30, and then you would you'd catch some shuttles to the golf course, have lunch there, and you were assigned with a coach, and in that group were 7 other players or 6 other players, maybe 7 or 8 were per group. I don't remember. And some days you would just work on technical stuff. You would focus on short game. Some days you would go play 9 holes. And every now and then you would have a golf tournament, and you know you'd be away for the weekend or for a few days. But yeah, I mean, out there it was mainly, you know, it got to a point where I was very, very technical because everything was so it was destined to just have a good swing. And some players were so in that bubble of just swinging the golf club well, and sometimes you forget that there's a game out there that you need to shoot very low scores.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it it can get very technical, and it can get very like a very structured routine. But at the same time, if you use, you know, everything the correct way, the facilities and everything, and you just kind of take a step back and think about that there's a game out there that you need to win and you need to compete. Just that was my main thing. And after the practice, which was from 1 to 5, I believe, you would have some days where you go to the gym and work on TPI stuff, fitness. There were some groups that went to advanced fitness, so that was really good. I think that was one of the reasons why I'm really into fitness now. And then you had some mental sessions with Matt Cucaro, I believe it's his
Mm-hmm.
last name, if I'm pronouncing it right. So he was out there, and every group would have maybe a couple sessions during the week, and then from there on, you get to your housing at around, I would say, 6:30, depending on the fitness session. You'd have dinner, and there was study time. I believe it started at 8. So everybody had to be studying in their rooms from 8 to 10, and 10:15 were lights out.
So the school being 7:30 to 12:30 was an accelerated program?
Yeah, I think we only had like 3 classes during those hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it went by. It went by. Sometimes it went by fast. Sometimes it didn't. But I I liked the fact that I could practice for 4 hours.
Right.
I wasn't practicing for 2.5. I was practicing for a full from 1 to 5, pretty much.
When you said you had gotten a little technical, as did a lot of the other students, did you go to your coaches and say, hey, look, I think I need to be playing a little more to get the most out of my game?
I mean, I did. I was always kind of the player who would communicate a lot of stuff with the coach,
Mm-hmm.
but some kids didn't have. I don't know if they didn't want to or if they didn't care, but some kids were just kind of like whatever he says is what I'm doing. So if you just worked on technical stuff for 2 straight days for 2 hours and you're doing that for a third day for another 3 hours, I didn't agree with it. So I went to my coach and I told him, man, I need to play more. Like I want to go out and play. Just let me go out and play. Because I just worked on technical stuff. Like I don't want to work on technical stuff now. I want to go play. So I at least I communicate that I communicated with my coach at the time.
Did you get that from the training you had prior, and from working with your dad on the mental side, that you could identify, hey, look, I think the best thing for my game is that I do this, even though you want me to do something else?
I don't think I got that from like my dad and what mindset my dad gave me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just kind of it starts making sense. Like you need to start looking at it as in you have a golf tournament coming up. Like there was a golf tournament every 2 weeks, I believe. So when in the South Carolina area at least, and all the kids there were playing in them. So if you have a tournament coming up, you at least have to go get some holes in.
Right.
Like it's not that difficult to understand, I think, like in my point of view, so if you're working on technique, and you get to the tournament and you're still thinking about how that club face is wide open at the top, like, well, you're probably not going to play very well.
No.
I mean, if you're trying to get your position right on the 16th hole and you have to hit it over water, you're probably not going to pull it off,
Mm-hmm.
So I've never really been a fan of practicing a lot. I've been a fan of practicing quality, like practicing what you need to go to the range and the putting green and the chipping green and then go out and play. I could play golf. I can play golf right now for 6 hours straight and I could just keep on playing.
And ultimately, kids seem to fall into that mindset that if they get their swing just right, that it'll take them to the next level. And I think back at that time when you were younger, Tiger was going through his swing changes, and Haney being there at the academy, or the face of the academy. Now everybody thinks they're going to have to change their swing if they want to be like Tiger Woods. It's kind of cool that you had that mental wherewithal to say, hey, look, I don't think this is going to benefit me. Here's what I think will.
Yeah. And I think it's just it can run different in life, but it's just if you get a job and you don't agree with what your boss is saying, you can maybe go talk to him and tell him that you don't agree with that, and it's probably not the best idea, but he might say yes or no, or he might tell you to just shut up or whatever. But I'm just always been the kind of guy who likes to communicate stuff with, in this case, my coach when I was there, and tell him, hey, I don't agree with the schedule of today. Like, I kind of want to go play golf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to play golf. I'm not here to get a prettier swing.
Right. And it's I remember that time, a lot of your just hanging around there with you guys, that a lot of the kids were more focused on the aesthetics of their swing.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you right now on the show, we used to make fun of everybody, of like everybody who's trying to have a prettier swing. Well, you probably have a better swing than me on camera. Nope. And you go out there and beat me in 18 holes? You know, like it's kind of, it works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously need a good swing to play good golf. But at the end of the day, you got to get that little white ball in the hole.
What did you like most about being at the school?
Wow, I think my friends, like the friendships that I was able to attain during those years there
Mm-hmm.
was my favorite part, because I'm still in touch with a lot of the guys who I went to school with. And don't get me wrong, the golf part of it was amazing too. It was like you said, I was living the dream. I was a junior golfer playing golf every day, going to school for 3.5 hours of the day, or maybe 4. And, I was just competing. I was playing well, and that's what I wanted to do. But I think it goes a little bit more than just having getting good at golf. It goes a little bit more than that, in my point of view. Just the friendships you build, the network you can build for your future. I think that's what I like the most about that place.
Anything that you didn't like outside of maybe the fact that you couldn't be at the golf course all day, that you had to attend class?
um, you know, a lot of people complained about the food that they served for dinner, and I kind of agree with it. So other than that, I think everything was, I don't know if I can complain about that place. That place gave me all the opportunity in the world to become the best player I can be,
Mm-hmm.
or I could be. And other than that, other than just sometimes bad dinners, doesn't get like worse than that. Like it's not it's not the end of the world. That's what I mean.
Right. And
Yeah,
you think that going there helped you pursue your dreams of college scholarship and eventually playing pro?
for sure. Yeah, I mean that this has helped me tremendously, because without me going to that academy, I don't think I would have been recruited. Or I don't think I would have had the exposure that I had when I was at IJGA. I was able to travel all over the country playing junior tournaments, where college coaches were just out there watching who their next recruit was going to be. And if I was in Mexico just playing random junior tournaments in Mexico, it would have been a lot harder for me to get that exposure.
Yeah, and so let's talk about your college. You for your first year, you went to University of Oklahoma, right?
Yeah,
So for some
yeah,
of the young golfers that are, let's say they're in high school now, maybe even younger, and they're about to embark on that recruiting process. Um,
yeah.
tell them what the recruiting process is like.
Yeah, the recruiting process starts off with you having good grades, period. Like, if you have good grades, your golfing part of the recruiting process becomes a lot easier. And why do I say this? Is because I wasn't a very good student in high school. I with a I think I had like maybe a year and a half left of high school. I already signed my national letter of intent, or I already committed. I already verbally committed to OU when the coach called me and told me that I wasn't eligible to play D1 college golf
Oh, that had to
because
be
of
like
my
a
grades.
punch in the stomach.
Yes, because of my grades. I go, if I would have, you know, put a little bit more effort into my academics, it would have made everything a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So my very last year of junior golf, I had to get my grades up. And obviously that's when you need the most exposure. You need the most competition to get to college and start playing right away. And when I was getting recruited, I got recruited by a couple by a few different schools. They're all pretty good. But Oklahoma put an eye on me when I was maybe 15. It was probably my second letter I ever got in the mail from them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I played all over the country. Either the head coach or the assistant coach were traveling to watch me and other players. So you start off by playing IJGA tournaments, which those are the ones who give you the most exposure at the national level. And then, obviously, as you keep playing better, more universities are interested in you. And I was able to visit the university my junior year of high school. So I visited 3 universities. I visited Central Florida down in Orlando. I visited Oklahoma University in Norman, and I visited University of Florida in Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
And I scheduled those 3 visits decently close to each other, so I could, make up my mind on where I wanted to play golf relatively soon after my visits. So I went to OU. I fell in love with the campus. Great guys on the team, and they offered me a good scholarship, and I decided to go there.
A pretty simple process, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to play very well. I don't say good, but I was in contention maybe 50% of the weeks when I was playing in the IJGA tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So to be honest with you, my example is probably not the best because it sounds kind of arrogant, but I didn't have to send out any letters from my email.
Well, no, if you play well enough, then people are going to notice you. You don't have to send out letters.
Yeah, and for a lot of kids, they do have to go through that process where they have to send out their resumes and stuff. So it's a little different for the level of golf that you're able to play in junior golf. But I was fortunate enough to get that solid or to get that good at golf at an early age that I didn't have to go through that process of creating a resume, creating a tournament calendar where the coaches had to make the trip down there to watch you play and stuff. So, and senior year of high school, I signed my national letter of intent, not knowing if I was going to be able to play D1 college golf.
So did you do the visits to Florida and Central Florida, or once you went to Oklahoma, you knew that was it?
Central Florida was the first one. Then it was Oklahoma, and my third visit was UF. Yeah, I took all 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I took all 3, and by Christmas time, I already knew that I was gonna go to Oklahoma.
Mostly because of the guys that you met?
I would say because the coach made a huge difference. I think Coach Sybil is a great guy, and he has great recruiting at that university. So I think he did a great job in recruiting a really strong class.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in with me, a really strong freshman class and I think the coach and the guys who I was going to come in with were a big part of why I wanted to go there.
So you had some challenges there your freshman year, I'd call it. Because I remember us talking about this a little bit when you were there. You asked my opinion. And I didn't agree with how they did it, because if I remember, you had qualified, through the team qualifier, you had qualified to make the travel squad as a freshman, and they didn't take you. And I think you had issue with that, and rightfully so. Was that it, or was it something else that?
I exactly don't remember what I told you, Pete, but it was kind of somewhere along the lines of that. The qualifying was difficult because the coach already had at least 4 guys in the lineup. Like
And
that
you
was
take
his.
6, 5, or 6. You take 6, right?
You take five,
5.
and
Okay.
in some tournaments you take 6 if there's an individual spot for your team. So you're competing against 7 other guys who are not in the lineup, and you're playing for one spot. And sometimes it gets pretty frustrating that you just, you try to look for answers where where they're not. And sometimes, I tried changing a few things in my swing. I got to college playing a nice push draw.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, the coach suggested that I should, make that draw tighter. And for me, it was kind of a different feeling, and maybe I started switching to a fade, and things didn't go very well. And there's this one qualifier where, this is where I look like I got back home and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, "Who are you?" Like I remember I shot like 82, my freshman year in qualifying. I had a talk with the coach afterwards. She was like, I don't know what's going on with you. Like, just, come up with some answers yourself. I'll help you out. But like, this is in the air and I recruited. It was quite difficult. I was there a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was quite difficult. I had a really tough time emotionally more than anything. I mean, golf wise at the time, to be honest with you, it got secondary. Like I just wanted to be happy. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying myself out there.
So a culmination of making too many modifications to your swing, and you kind of lose your way, especially if there's no one there to guide you. Because you see this, and you probably see it now playing professional. I used to see it that on various tours that guys would get out there, and then they would think they'd need to change their swing. It's like you're competing at the top level in your field in the area or in the nation and whatever the world. When you get to the PGA Tour, and now you want to change your swing, it's like, what are you crazy? You're really gonna get yourself in the weeds on this one. It was good that you experienced that early on, that you're not getting there now, that you're playing professional golf, and you're going to go. You don't have to go through that. You already did it. I mean, the one, Craig Perks, right? He won the Players Championship one year. I think he got a 5 or 10 year exemption. He goes and changes his swing, and he ended up getting out of tour golf. I think he's teaching now in Louisiana, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
No, I mean a lot of people go through that process in different ways and different stages of their career.
Mm-hmm.
When I was there, and the reason why I'm saying this and I'm explaining why I had a bad time at Oklahoma. Bad time, I mean like golf. Like, I wasn't playing good golf. I take this a step back when I refer to the main thing for recruiting process is academics. The reason I say this is because when I needed to be competing the most during the year, I played 4 tournaments my senior year of high school because I couldn't just, miss class because my grades were so low, and my grades were so low. I had to get my GPA up. I took the SAT. I think I took the SAT 6 times. So imagine going through getting your GPA up, studying for the SAT, and having to study for the SAT not only 1, 2 times, 6 times. Like that was really hard on me and my family because I didn't know if I was going to go to OU until my very last day of high school when I had my report card handed in to me. So I was out there already. I got to college. Let's just put it this way. It was very good that I got to D1 college golf.
I remember not long after you graduated, and the release of pressure that was off your back was you were a completely different person.
Yeah.
From when I met you as a kid to the time you graduated, you would that like you said, those months leading up where you weren't playing hardly at all, or at least tournament golf, and just see the pressure building. And then when you
Yeah.
came out and we worked on your putting and we fit you for the putter and everything, like, we got that was kind of your going away present. Everything was like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, and I was really close at the time with your brother Chad, and Chad was out there. He saw everything. Like, he saw how I wouldn't show up to the golf course until like 3:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
because I was inside studying, and I was inside doing homework, and I was inside studying for my SAT, like tutoring. I was taking 50% of my golf time. It was just taken away from me, or I took that away from myself because obviously I didn't have good grades, and that was my responsibility.
Do you think you just took the grades for granted early on? That it was just you didn't have to have them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I took them for granted. You know, I don't blame it. I don't like to blame this on my dad, but he was the one who was like, "Hey, you have to go play. You have to go play every other week. Like, school is important, yes. Just whenever you're in there, just get good grades or whatever." But I wasn't doing that. I was playing every other week. I remember my sophomore year when it was my I would say mid junior year of high school, when I was playing like the best golf of my junior career. I show up to the final of my U.S. history class, and the professor looks at me and goes, "You know how many days you came to class out of the 85 days of the semester?" I go, "I don't know." He goes, "You came to class 38 days. And you're going to pass this class."
How did the school let you, there's somebody, had to be somebody at the school counselor or somebody that had to be some kind of watch on that to say, look, you can play in these tournaments, but you still got to go to class. You're not going to miss, you're only allowed to play in so many until you start missing too much school.
Yeah.
Was there no
exactly.
Safety valve in place when you were there?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there was, but I was just kind of, I was kind of like the good golfer in the academy. I was part of the Mexican national team. They were sending me to tournaments to Argentina, to Australia, to the UK, to Japan, to China. So, I'm a junior golfer. I'm playing good golf. I was traveling the world. Like, with 16 years old, I didn't know how important school was. I didn't understand how important the GPA and the SAT scores were until I kind of knew that I wasn't eligible to play Division I golf.
Then it's like a slap in the face. Hey, it's like a wake-up call.
Yeah, and then it's like, exactly. Then it's like, all right, buddy, like, all you did these past couple of years, it's all cool and everything, but you can't play golf now. So, yeah, it was a lot of studying. It was a rough time in my life. And but this goes from struggling at OU. I struggled at OU because I didn't have good grades in high school. I transferred from OU because I didn't have good grades in high school. That's where I'm trying to go with this.
How did so your sophomore year you transferred to UTEP, University of Texas El Paso, right? And how did that situation come about? Did they approach you, or you approached them, or?
Yeah, so I talked to Coach Sybil at the end of my freshman year at OU, and I told him how I felt. I asked around from some of my friends that were playing college golf at the time, and he got to know that I was kind of asking about other programs. I don't know how he knew. Probably he communicated with some other coach. I don't know, but he got to know that I was asking. It was kind of like a behind his back move, to put it in perspective, to be honest with you.
Right.
But obviously my intentions were not to make it seem that way, but that doesn't matter. I talked to him. he goes, if you don't play well, you got one more semester, and then we'll take it from there, and I'll put you on the transfer portal. Like, it's no problem. So I started playing my first semester of my sophomore year. I missed the first two tournaments. I missed the line of the first two tournaments of the semester, and went to his office and talked to him. It wasn't a nice talk, for sure. It was not a nice talk. And
you told the OU coach that you were leaving. Is that?
Yeah, I told him. He was like, I think it's time to move on and just, put me on the transfer portal. Like, I just want to transfer. I don't want to be here, And he gave me he needs to sign up a compliance sheet that I'm allowed to talk and negotiate scholarships with whatever schools, any other schools that I want. And from there on, I was on another recruiting process. I went through another recruiting process. I had a couple offers from other schools, and believe it or not, when I was at IJGA, the coach, the UTEP coach, he's not a coach here anymore, but the UTEP coach, he went to IJGA to take a look at 2 players or 3 players. So he was out there. He knew who I was, but I started playing so well that he just kind of gave up on me during my junior career. So I was going to go to a bigger program. And I came across this guy's email because of Ross Proctor, good friends with the Popovich family. So, he suggested it. He's like, hey, you might be interested. I'm not telling you to go there, but the coach wants you. He knows you. He's a nice guy. He played for him. Ross played for Scott in
New Mexico.
I emailed him.
Right?
Yeah. He coached at New Mexico State, and then Ross was there when he was there, and they're good friends now. And then Scott and I, very easygoing guy, very straightforward. He's like, you want to come on a visit? I go, yep. All right, I'll book your flight. I'll book your official visit. And the next day, or the next 3 or 4 days, I was in El Paso taking a visit down here.
Was there any trepidation that you would go through something similar at UTEP that you did at Oklahoma, or did you were just excited to get to somewhere else where you could kind of just start fresh?
I had a little bit of both, to be honest with you. The team at the time here at UTEP, when I first got here, it was very competitive. Like, these guys were ranked like 50th in the country. All I wanted was just to secure a spot on the lineup, and all I wanted was just to play, kind of thing. I don't care if I go to a bad team. I just want to play. Like, that was kind of my mentality going into this transfer process. But I got to UTEP. I mean, I had a friend here from Mexico who I grew up playing with, and he is now one of my best friends because I roomed with him my years. And I was with him. It's close from home. I was looking at all the pros, and I go, I want to be here. So I came here, but then I take a look at the team, and they're 48th in the country. So I came in with that excitement that I was going to, push a restart button in my golfing career. But I was also like, what if I don't make the lineup? What if these guys beat me all the time? And this is where my life changed. When I got to El Paso, and when I'm telling you right now, my life changed completely. And when I was under Coach Scott Lieberworth, I give him probably a lot of credit, more than people think, for my amateur career, the collegiate career that I had under him. A lot of the credit goes to him.
What did he do? What was it? Getting your swing back to where it was? Was it a mental thing? Getting your mind right, or giving you direction?
He was I always describe Scott as in like he's more than just a college coach. He's like a second dad in a way, and he's kind of like a life coach in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I showed up to El Paso. He brings me in his office, and he's like, first of all, Aaron, I want you to know that you are the best player on this team. Now, you need to prove that. Not to me, not to your teammates, but to yourself. And that's when I go, oh, okay. Like, this guy believes in me. This guy just gave me a scholarship to come play for him. I got to get my ass up and be ready to play. And when he said that, just something just kind of it just hit different. And then from there on, I just started gaining my confidence back, and I started seeing some putts drop, and I was hitting my driver well, and out of nowhere, I was in contention in a college tournament now. And I go, wow, this is fun. Like, this is actually like a lot of fun. So from going from Oklahoma in a year and a half, I played 3 tournaments. Combined with my senior year of high school, I played 6 tournaments in 18 months. And in 4 months, I played 9 tournaments. We won conference, and we made it to regionals, which for UTEP was pretty solid. We were 4 shots away from making it to the national championship that year or that semester.
Yeah, because you had a hell of a year. That was 17, right? 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, you had a hell of a year. I think you were first team all conference that year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, first team all conference that year. Yeah. I won conference, and we won conference. I finished like 7th in conference. Like, it was just a life-changing period in my career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the mistakes you made were now behind you. You learned from what that catapulted you into, and then it's like, okay, I'm not going to let this happen again, and I have this opportunity.
Yeah, and really, Scott was really, how would I say it, like very plain with his swing thoughts, like of how he approached swing changes. Like, he wasn't really into changing his player's swing. He was more of making his player's swing efficient. Like, whatever you play, I don't care if you play pull draws or pull fades, you got to be the best at that shot, because that's what I want. Like, you got to shoot in the 60s with that shot. And he was more that way, where, like, at OU, Coach Sybil was more like, yeah, I think, the fate, like switching to a left to right ball flight is going to make you a better player kind of thing.
Yeah, I never got that about college coaches that thought that way. It's like, okay, give me the reason. Yeah. And I've said that to a number of them because I know a fair number. Okay, you tell a kid that, what's the reason? You can't just arbitrarily say, well, if they want to play at the next level, they're going to have to play a fade. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
Kenny Perry was a little older than me. Kenny had a pretty damn good career, and he played a big sweep and draw. I think
big push draw.
I think Kenny's fade drew 5 yards.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't fade at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Were you still working with Ross Pracker at this time, or were you moved?
Yeah, I was on and off with Ross. Ross,
because he was your coach at the academy.
Yeah, he was my coach at the academy. My first year at OU, when I had a decent run where I made the lineup 3 times, he helped me out prior to like the qualifiers for like those tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working with Ross at the time. Now Ross got really busy with just work, and I told him, I go, hey, it's going to be kind of hard for me to keep on working with you if you're this busy, because I kind of need somebody who helps me out more in kind of quantity, not maybe once every 2 months. We had great sessions. I would go out to Houston. We had great sessions out there for 2 days, and then I would not see him for the next 4 months.
Yeah, not to play at
So
that level.
I needed somebody who was, it was a little hard for both of us because, he had a lot of work, and Roz is one of my best friends now. So, I have the trust in him. I trust him, or I have the confidence to just tell him straight up what I felt at the time,
Mm-hmm.
So then, the time I was working with him, when I got to UTEP, I stuck with Coach Scott. I liked what Coach Scott Lieberworth told me to do, suggested me to do. So I worked. He probably doesn't know this, but I followed what he told me for a couple of years. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because as I was, I followed you in college, but I didn't follow you like every week. But I remember, we said your first year there, you're all conference first team, and your senior year, all conference second team. But what happened in your junior year?
Yeah, it was actually my first year. My junior year was kind of like a whatever year. I had a lot of mid field finishes, top 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really. I played mediocre, I would say.
Do you think it was an emotional letdown from being, getting into a good situation and excelling, and then it's like, okay, you're kind of deflated. You don't have the same passion, or it's like you've achieved, okay, and you don't have the desire as much anymore without even knowing it? Or did you expect it to happen?
No. Yeah. It was more of I got out of that hole that I was in fairly quickly, and it was because of one of my really good friends too. His name is Jorge Martinez. He's the best sports psychologist in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me to get out of that ditch, and we got better. I got better really, really fast. And that full junior year that I played at UTEP, I just really, really wanted to win a golf tournament, and that's why I think I didn't play that well.
You got in your own way.
Year. Yeah, I got my own way. Like that, there's no better way to describe it. I got my own way, and Coach Scott knew that. He saw it, and we talked after. And I remember after my junior year, we talked, and it was actually the very first week of my senior year. The season wasn't even. Like, we hadn't even started the season or anything, but Scott calls me in his office and he's like, hey, last year was mediocre or whatever. I know you wanted to win, but I just want to tell you one thing. What you're playing right now, it's just golf. And it sounds weird. It sounds bad, but golf is not your life. Like, golf is just a game that you're playing in your life. There's so many other things more important than just playing golf or winning a golf tournament. Trust me, a golf tournament that you win right now, it's cool and everything, but in the long run, you're going to look at it as in there's so many other things way more important than winning a golf tournament. And that's what got me going, because that semester I started playing very well, and then the next semester it was my best semester of college ever.
Mm-hmm. You won twice, didn't you?
Yeah, I won back-to-back in the fall, and then I think my very last semester of college, my senior year, I shot my worst score for a full semester was at conference, which was our last tournament, and it was 73.
Yeah, cause you're from your junior to senior year, you dropped almost a full stroke on average, which is very difficult to
Yeah,
do it at that level.
yeah, yeah. I think my scoring average my senior year was in like 70.78 or 70.80 something.
Mm-hmm. So,
Like I was, I was in contention every single week.
so was it more or less looking at making your life more well balanced and not focusing so hard on just golf?
Yeah, that was it. That was literally what made me win my college events or the college events that I won.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to win in college. I didn't really want to leave college without winning. And, you know, Scott would just come up every now and then to remind me. He's like, hey, remember, this is just a game. You don't have to win. You're going to win. If you're going to win, it's the consequence of a lot of things that you need to do well that week. But you don't have to win. Okay? The worst thing that can happen is just jumping in the plane with your teammates, having a laugh in the airplane, and getting to El Paso and just do it all over again. That's the worst thing that can happen. You shoot 80 in a tournament in Hawaii. You wake up the next day, and the worst thing that can happen is, hey, you're teeing it up again in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
right next to the beach, with your teammates. You're not losing money. You're not playing for money. Your life can't be that bad. That
Yeah.
was kind of what made me a better player.
Yes, because it is about making the individual, and it's not so much about the X's and O's. And I don't know the OU coach, but it versus the UTEP coach. I'm not trying to pit them against each other. If they ever listen to this, that's not what I'm getting at here. One, maybe he just thought you needed to do something in your swing and didn't notice, or maybe he had was focused on something else, but didn't notice the human issues that you might have had. And that's not saying a negative thing. It's, everybody goes through ups and downs, and tried to tweak the
Yeah,
wrong thing. So there's always two parts. And whenever when I'm working with somebody, there's the diagnostic part where you have to figure out what's wrong with their game, and then you have to give them the correct fix. And it's a two-part thing. And if you get one of the two wrong, it could wreak havoc. And at the level you were playing at, it can go sideways pretty quickly. And then it was what happened to
yeah,
you. Then the confidence goes, and you're just sitting there trying to grasp at anything that might stop the free fall.
exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah, and I mean, just to touch on Coach Hibble's coaching. To be honest with you, he is a great coach. Like at the time where I couldn't hit the golf ball, I had my short game had to be on point or had to be sharp. And I consider myself a really good short game right now, like a really good short game player.
mm-hmm.
And the short game that I have right now, and the short game that I've been developing these past couple of years, or these past few years actually, up until my pro career now that I just started, it's all because of Coach Hibble. And I know all the shots because of Coach Hibble. He taught me everything around the greens. He taught me how to just chip from everywhere, pretty much. I take a lot of things from both coaches that I had. Coach Hibble was just more methodical with how he wanted things. And Scott was just kind of like, hey, take a step back, look at the big picture. You're a person before you're a player. So let's be okay with the person that I recruited to make a better player in college, So
Mm-hmm.
those are the two things that I value from both of them.
You had a very good amateur career too, outside of your college career. When did you win the Mexican Amateur?
I win. Yeah, the timing of this win was wow. It's quite weird, but yeah, I win the Mexican Amateur 2016, like at the very it was in the summer between my freshman year and my sophomore year of college.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't played anything that spring semester of my freshman year. And I go on to the Mexican Amateur, top golf course, freaking hazards everywhere, out of bounds everywhere, and I go out there and I win. And I'm just like, wow, like, okay, like I think I can play at OU. Like I think I'm a good golfer. So yeah, that's when I win the Mexican Amateur, and for sure that's by far the highlight of my amateur career.
Did that get you any exemptions in anything or open up any doors?
Yeah, that got me into the USM of that year, US Amateur Championship of that year.
You played pretty good in that, if I remember.
Yeah, well, I missed the cut by 2. You might be thinking the U.S. Junior Championship.
I think that's the one.
Yeah, the U.S. Junior Championship. I got to rounds of 8 or rounds of 16.
I knew it was 16 or right around there. I remember that. We were all watching.
Yeah, I won 2 matches and I lost in the 3rd match. So yeah, it was a nice little run that I had out there.
Now let's jump to where we were talking earlier, the Latin American Amateur Championship that you runner up. Was that a year ago, January of last year?
Yeah, it was exactly January of 2020.
And if you would have won that, you would have gotten the Masters.
Yeah, I would have put in the Masters this past year where DJ won.
What? But that runner up is what got you into Mayakoba?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why it was because the Latin American Amateur Championship was held at Mayakoba.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped because the tournament, or pretty much the CEO of Mayakoba, kind of ran the Latin American Amateur Championship tournament as well, or his team did run the tournament that week, and so he was I get runner up, and that was, I mean, he extended an invitation to me to play in this tournament, so that was very nice of him.
Now, was the exemption for you as an individual, or was it for the amateur position of runner-up in the tournament? In other words, when you played in Mayakoba, did you play as an amateur or professional?
At Mayakoba, like the tour event?
The tour event, yeah.
Yeah, no, I played it as a professional. Like,
okay.
Pretty much when I was done, when I made my last putt at the Latin American Amateur Championship in January of 2020,
mm-hmm.
That's when I turned professional, because obviously I was going to wait to play in the Masters and to play in the Open, because I think they added that to the tournament, or to the Champions exemption. I was going to wait for it, and I was going to play the Masters or whatever. So I didn't win. So I just pretty much turned pro right then.
So, and did you plan to turn pro before that tournament started, or did the tournament and the high finish give you the extra boost of confidence to say, hey, I can play at the next level, and I'm gonna take that opportunity?
Yeah, I was thinking about it prior. I was gonna wait for sure to play that tournament because it was held in Mexico or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to play in my country, my last amateur event. But I already knew that I was gonna turn pro right after the tournament. If I didn't win, I was gonna turn pro. It didn't matter. I had to win to just stay amateur. But yeah, I mean, that tournament obviously kind of opened my eyes and helped me realize that I was not the kid I was not the kid in college anymore. I was probably a little better player now than I was in college. So that kind of helped me understand that I was one step closer to compete at the professional level. Because, winning at the professional level, or winning at any level, is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So that tournament for sure helped me realize that I was good enough to play at the professional level.
So what was your plan once you turned pro, and then who was helping you with develop that and what you were going to do, where you were going to play?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was going to play the PGA Tour Latin America Q School.
Mm-hmm.
And that was literally maybe the week after I played the LAAC, the LAC. It was held in Argentina. I went on there with my sports psychologist. He caddied for me that week down in Argentina. So, my parents helped me pay for it, the whole trip, and I eventually paid him back. But, went down to Argentina. I went in a 6-man playoff for one spot to get the cart, and I got it.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, I was down there for I remember maybe 10 days down in Argentina, Buenos Aires area.
Mm-hmm.
So we were down there, great group of guys were down there, all from Mexico too, the people who I traveled with at least. We're just down there. It was a great trip. We were down there. We all made it. So that was the good thing. 4 of us traveled and the 4 of us made it. So that was really nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool when that happens. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it.
Yeah, when it does, you're like mission accomplished.
So how many events did you get into before the COVID shut down basically the planet?
So that was in February, and that was late January.
Mm-hmm.
And early February, the Mexican tour offered me an invitation to one of the tournaments, and that was 3.5 hours or 3 hours from my house in Mexico City. It's called Puebla, and I made my professional debut there. And a different feeling. You're playing for money now. Like this isn't.
Yeah, this is it.
College anymore.
It's what you've been waiting for. And there's no more looking forward. You're like, hey, here it is.
Exactly. Here it is. So I had a great week there. It was a great golf course. Tight, long, fast greens. I think it benefited me just because how tough it was. And I finished runner-up. On my professional debut, so that was really cool.
And then did that was on the Mexican tour, and was that a part of the PGA Latin American? Or
no, so that was the Mexican tour. Then I had another top 5 on the Mexican tour, and then the first week of March, I believe, that was when the first tournament of the PGA Latin America, official calendar was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in Mexico as well. It was in Mazatlan, the Pacific coast of Mexico. And, showed up to the place, and it happened to be the lowest cut in the history of the PGA Tour Latin America. The cut was 7 under. I shot 5 under, and I missed the cut.
Was that an eye-opening to say, "Holy, this is a different league"?
Yeah, for sure. This is, I was talking to my sports psych, and more than just opening my eyes, it was kind of telling me that I still need to improve a lot. Obviously I know PGA Tour Latin America cuts they're around 3 to 6 under.
Mm-hmm.
And there are just some things that you need to make it happen. You need to hit your wedges to not 4 feet, but to a foot. You need to get that good. So that's kind of what the mentality, or that was what that tournament taught me. And then after that, we got an email saying that the season was going to be canceled. maybe a week after that. we knew that the full season was going to be canceled, or it was going to be canceled partially until some news were going to come out.
And have you guys, has the tour started up this summer at all, or
yeah.
What's happened with it?
Well, the tour resumed play the last 2 weeks, or the second week and third week of December.
So just a month ago?
Yeah. I mean, I played just a month ago. That's when we resumed playing for PGA Tour Latin America.
So all summer, all fall, you just kind of hung out at home and practiced, played what you could with your friends, and kept competitive?
Well, Mexico City more. That's where I live. So Mexico City was on a full lockdown for 94 days. Wow. And so, yeah, when this happened, or when this started happening, I didn't want to fall into I had to quarantine in Mexico for like 12 days, I believe, after that Mazatlan tournament. But then one of my Carlos's brother, Carlos Ortiz's brother, his name is Alvaro. He's my best friend. He has a place in Dallas, and I saw a post on Instagram that he was practicing out there. And I go, all right, well, maybe I'll call. I had to call him. I asked him if I could come to Dallas for a few weeks, and he said, yeah, it's fine. When I was there, we didn't know that the quarantine or the lockdown in Mexico was going to be 94 days or 90 whatever days. Mm-hmm. So when I was there, I was going to be there for like 24 days or something. And my mom called me one day and she's like, hey, it's going to be another month of lockdown, And so I decided to just stay up there in Dallas with Alvaro, and we practiced every day and we played golf every day pretty much. And I was out there for maybe 2 months, like 60 days. I was in Dallas from mid-March to pretty much May.
You had it made. Better than college. Playing golf every day, no classes, practice, hang out with your boys.
Yeah. Play video games every now and then. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. But then, obviously, we didn't know anything about tournaments. There wasn't a calendar set for any tour. Not even the Korn Ferry, not even the PGA Tour. This is when the PGA Tour had no idea what to do. Mm-hmm. And then I came to college in El Paso, so I asked one of my friends down here in El Paso, hey, how are things in El Paso? And they're like, oh, they're open. Everything's open. Golf courses are open. Some food places are open. I guess El Paso got really bad recently, but at the time, COVID was probably at 100 cases a day, maybe less than that. Mm-hmm. So I came down here, and from here, I had a car. I still had an apartment. I had a golf course where I'm a member at, and I could just practice and play golf all day long. So I came down here for pretty much full summer.
So your game's sharp, I would have to assume. Nothing else to do but play and practice.
I mean, all I was doing is, when I came to El Paso, I was playing maybe 36 holes a day, and I was still getting some practice in. So, I mean, I was sharp. I went over to San Antonio to play both Monday qualifiers, and I got through one of them. So I was able to stay up here in the States, and I was able to get my game ready for whenever it was needed.
And was it ready to go when they got ramped up again? How'd you play?
I played 4 weeks in a row, and I made my last 3 cuts of those 4 weeks. So, Latino America, I made the cut in Miami, finished like 30th, and then I finished tied for 17th at the Dominican Republic.
Nice.
So yeah, it was okay. It was solid. Made the cut, first two cuts of the PGA Tour Latin America season as a rookie year, or in my rookie year. So it was a solid end of the year, I would say.
And what do you are they continuing to go now in 21, or what's the story for you guys?
Yeah, 21. The committee is just trying to get a hold of the government down in South America,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of work with them with like events, like sporting events. They're open to host them in their country, so they're still going to work on them. But there's some rumors going around that we're going to go back to Mexico in March again, where I missed my first cut of the PGA Latin America tour. So that's nice.
Yeah, your folks will get to see you again. Just watch them.
Yeah,
Mom will
yeah.
be proud. You're now at every level. You've gone up, and
For sure. Yeah.
Right? What's the biggest
Yeah.
surprise about professional golf that you might not have realized beforehand?
Biggest surprise is how often you have to wash your underwear when you're on the road. You just have to, you run out of underwear. You're playing 6 weeks in a row, 10 weeks in a row. There's some players that are playing 15 weeks in a row. And you only have so many underwear, I think. So, yeah, I mean, no, but seriously, I think it's just these guys are kind of, they don't care who you are. They don't care where you went to college. They don't care what you did in college. You're taking their money, and you have to take theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what, you're on the putting green, and nobody talks to each other. There's just awkward silence where you can feel how these guys are, they're there for their paycheck. And you and your trajectory and your bad experiences and your good experiences, they're not going to get in the way of them beating you and getting that paycheck. So it's this, I'm sure every tour, but being a professional golfer, you got to be tough to handle these things. You got to be tough. You got to be thick-skinned.
Well, I remember telling you guys when you guys were all young, and you had already known that it's not just the swing, it's playing, but that all you guys said that you wanted to turn pro when the time came. And I said, okay, when you get out there, it's not just about your swing. In fact, it's probably the least thing. Of course, your swing has to be, ready to go, and you worked on it and improve it. But it's all about handling the situations, different areas. Yeah. And once you get to a certain level, everybody's swings and their short games and their putting and everything's pretty good. It's who has the mental fortitude to get through adversity, to know when to push the accelerator, when to back off. And it's interesting now listening to talking to all you guys at different times, and hear you say, what I used to tell you, and you paid attention probably more than the others, but the others just kind of just blow it off. Like, yeah, I'm going to make the PGA Tour and I'm going to win tournaments and be worth millions of dollars. And I said, okay, we'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's eye opening.
Yeah. It's a different ball game, it's all fun and games when you're in college, and I was able to I was decent friends with Colin Morikawa, major winner.
Mm-hmm.
You say hi to him on the putting green at a college event, but now, man, these guys at least on the developmental tours, that's is how I say it. It's from depending how you play is the kind of grocery list that you're getting the next week when you're home. It's tough.
What's your favorite part of playing pro golf?
The traveling. I love traveling. I think I don't mind sitting in an airport for 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind being on an airplane for 7 hours. I don't mind getting delayed. I think I have that little advantage over other people who are just complaining about how bad their flights are,
Well, yeah, going back to when you were a kid, I mean, your experiences then, both good and bad, and you've utilized them, you've grown from them, you've used them to advance yourself, and you didn't just sit there and woe is me. And that goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. You've got good parents, and your dad pushed you, knew when to back off. So yeah, you can start to see now. You're old enough. You can start to see where all these things played a different part that help you in any adversity you face today. And then 2 years from now, you're going to look back and say, okay, the adversity I had in 2020 is helping me. Whatever you're looking to challenges at that time, you're looking to overcome.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's good that you bring it up because to be honest with you, I didn't look at it that way before you told me this. But yeah, it's
you're not old enough yet.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not old enough yet. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, but you're right. You're right.
So, what's the strongest part of your game, and what's the weakest?
I think my strongest part of my game is my driving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not scared to pull out driver on any hole. Like, in fact, if I'd rather hit driver than hitting my 3-wood, And I usually drive it in the fairway, not just in play, but I usually drive it in the fairway. So that's really good. And my weakest, I would say I need to be more accurate with my wedge game. Inside 125 yards. I've improved a lot from like my last year of college up until now, but I think I can get a lot better. It's putting from 12 feet, it's nice, but putting from 8 feet, it helps a lot,
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So it's not like I'm a bad wedge player. It's not like I'm a bad ball striker, but I do feel like I can probably tighten up my dispersion, at least with my wedges.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. Nothing. The fundamentals of the game don't really change. I mean, everybody's focused on the distance right now, but it at that level to go from either let's say a mini tour level, or for you a college level, Division I, to a professional level and or a world known tour. Let's say even now Korn Ferry or PGA Tour. You're looking to shave a half a stroke to a quarter of a stroke off your game, and a lot of people out there, if you're listening, it's like, okay, how do you do that when you're already shooting? You're averaging 70 or 71 around, because a quarter stroke or a half a stroke is big, because over a 4-round tournament, that's 2 strokes. And the difference in hitting it, as you said, 8 feet to 12 feet, you're going to make, and I don't know the numbers off the top of my head anymore, what you're going to make from that distance, but let's just say you're going to make, there's your half stroke around, because you're going to make a putt every other round from 8 feet than you are from 12.
Yeah, these are kind of like this is how I try to. I'm not the longest hitter. I'm a decent ball striker. I'm a pretty good ball striker, but nothing above average, I would say, for a professional standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the things I do, or to understand the game better. Understand not only the game, but my game. Understand how I can be competitive with what I have. Like you said, putting from 8 feet instead of 12, you're going to make maybe 2 more putts per round. And that's, in a course of 4 days, that's, 8 strokes. Let's just say 6 strokes less. Like, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of points that you could be be game.
Well, even if you make one putt more every other round, that's 2 strokes a tournament and a half a stroke a round. And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, all anybody's got to do is go look at the PGA Tour stroke average and go look at the difference between a full half stroke on money list, and then money list that gets you into more tournaments, and it just snowballs from there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a tedious thing to sit there and find out where you're going to pick up that small of a percentage.
Yeah. It's kind of, it takes time, it takes energy to figure these things out. But at the end of the day, I think the best players, or the players who become their best versions, are the ones who invest the time, like a Kevin Kisner type of guy. I don't know, but he's a really good golfer. He's top 50 regularly, top 20 in the world regularly. And that's the kind of guy that I look at, because, it's cool to look at Rory. It's cool to look at DJ, Brooks. Tiger, obviously. But who are the quote unquote normal player who are competing, who are giving Rory, who are giving DJ a hard time to win a golf tournament,
Yeah,
So
Rory, DJ, Tiger. Those guys have a 12-cylinder engine, right? And even, let's say, a guy that, like you've mentioned, a regular guy, even if he's got an 8-cylinder supercharge, he's still got to be firing on more cylinders. They got to be hitting it because they're not as long. Those guys at the top hit it ridiculously long, so they're hitting shorter irons in. So the shorter guy has got to be more accurate with his mid and long irons to compete.
Yeah, and every time he has a wedge in his hand, he's got to pretty much leave himself a tap in.
Mm-hmm. Like Zach Johnson. That's how Zach Johnson won the Masters.
Of course.
It got cold and windy, and he's still one of the best wedge players out there. And he just picked that place apart compared to the rest of the field for the conditions that were there that year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's that's what I think I need to get better at. That little wedge dispersion, especially pro golf. It's a little more costly when you hit a that wedge shot here than when I did in college, So it's been kind of a grind this whole year with trying to improve. I haven't changed my swing since sophomore year of college. I haven't changed putting from pretty much from when I first got that fitting from you, Pete. And I always tell Chad, I always tell you every now and then. I just pretty much follow the same fundamentals we've worked on.
Didn't you shoot like 63 the next week or 2 weeks after we did that at TPC?
Yeah, I shot.
I guess we fixed his putting.
Yeah, I think I shot like 64. I don't remember where, but yeah, I remember I shot a low one after that. But even in college, I when I won the 2 tournaments here back to back, one of them was really hard, but the other one was I won by 10 at a college tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I shot 15 under, and I set the course record in one of the rounds. So it was a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, it's just the same thing we worked on, flat neck, chin in, and just follow your eye line.
Yep. Kept it simple. That was really all you needed. A slight tweak to your putter, and you were all set.
Yeah, and then that's literally just what I take a look at whenever when I'm struggling a bit, or whenever I'm not making putts. That's what I look at, and it just happens to be the same thing. So yeah, that's great.
It's good to hear. I'm glad it's still working. That's the idea.
Yeah.
So if people are listening and they want to follow you this year, where can they do it? You have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, websites, all that stuff.
Yeah. I have Twitter and I have Instagram. Instagram is Aaron Terrazas, and then just the number 2 right next to it. And Twitter is Aaron Terrazas, all together with the number 1 right next to it.
And I'll put those in the summary and with the links so people can follow you. And PGA Tour Latin America, they can follow you on there as well?
Yeah, PGA Tour Latin America. Just in the PGA Tour app, you just have to click on the tab where it gives you all the tours, and if you click on the PGA Tour Latin America, it just leads you right through the leaderboard of that week.
Perfect. And I hope that we're expecting you to be up there quite a bit this year.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pete. Appreciate it.
Let's do. You got
we'll
time for a few rapid fires before we nine? We do the back 9 rapid fire before we
yeah,
part
for sure.
you.
Let's go.
All right, first one.
Yeah.
Let's say that you play really good this year. You make the President's Cup team, and they have a walk-up song to the first tee. What would your song be? Any song that you want.
I think it would. Does the Mexican national anthem count?
Whatever you want. Any song in the world.
Yeah, the Mexican national anthem.
That's pretty cool. Now that you're famous, you're a pro golfer. Who's the biggest celebrity name that you have in your phone?
Biggest celebrity? You probably don't know him, but he was the 3rd best goalkeeper in the world in 1998. His name is Jorge Campos. He played 3 World Cups, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. The best course you've ever played?
It's got to be a tie, but Sage Valley and Sahali Golf Club.
Nice. Yeah, Sage Valley is a great course, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing.
I haven't played Sahali, but Sage is, here in South Carolina, it's quite the spot.
Yeah. Sahali is just it's amazing too.
Let's see. If your favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? I would say there's this movie, the hockey team, the U.S. hockey team that beats Russia.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of it. Yes, they made a movie of that with Kurt Russell was the coach.
Yeah. I think that's gotta be it.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm old enough that I was 8 years old when that happened. I remember when that happened. We couldn't believe
that's
it.
Amazing.
It was such an upset. Nobody could believe it.
And you were up there, like up north.
Yeah, I was in Michigan at that time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, that's gotta be my favorite sports movie.
Your dream foursome?
Dream foursome? It would be. Do they have to be alive or
anybody you want?
Seve Ballesteros, which he's my favorite player.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan.
That'd be a pretty good foursome. You better have, if you're going to talk smack in that group, you better have your game in order.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I gotta get my wedge game ready for that game. For that foursome.
Sharpen it up pretty good.
Yeah.
Would you rather speak all languages or be able to talk to animals?
I think I would speak all languages.
Okay. Let's see. A couple more. Would you rather live 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
100 years in the past, for sure.
Yeah, that's a new question. I kind of got it. We're about split. Sometimes I think I do the past because you know what's going to happen, so you can invest your money in the right spots and take advantage. Let's see.
I just want to live through. I just want to live through the 60s, to be honest with you.
That was before me, but I watch enough shows and documentaries on that. It looks like a pretty cool time.
Yeah.
What's your superpower?
Being invincible. I mean, invisible.
Invincible or invisible?
Invisible, like where people can't see you at all.
You go anywhere you want, eavesdrop, listen to anything. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll get myself a nice watch if I was invisible.
And then the last one, who's greatest of all time, Tiger or Jack?
Oh, Tiger Woods, no doubt.
Cool. Well, Aaron, it's been fun watching you from the time you were a kid, and I'm really enjoying seeing your success and progression and growth now as an adult and pursuing your dream. And happy to have helped you a little bit at one point along that path, and really looking forward to the success for you this year and going forward.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for all the help in the golf course and outside the golf course. You guys, you and your brother Chad had always been like really, really good friends to me more than anything. So,
yeah, those are fun times when we'd have you guys over the house and cook out and watch movies and
watch the Masters. That was fun.
Right. Yep, those were good times. We'll have some more. And when you get your PGA Tour card and you're playing in the Heritage and the Masters, we'll definitely be right there cheering for you like we always have.
Perfect. Sounds good, Pete. Thank you so much for your help, and thanks for the invitation.
Anytime, brother. You have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed it, you can find more information on today's episode and other topics at golf360.blog. There you'll find the show notes and links related to this episode, as well as any other episode that we've done so far to date. If you're interested in improving your game and would like to learn more from yours truly by taking a private lesson, a half-day or multi-day school, club or putter fitting, you can reach me through the blog site or by email, pete@golf360.blog. So some of you may be asking, what is the golf paradigm? All you have to do is click on the homepage while on my blog site to discover how you can start playing better than you ever thought possible. Or you can simply sign up again on the blog page for my instructional videos where I give regular tips on all areas of the game to include the swing, club design and fitting, health, fitness and nutrition, the mental aspects, and equally as important, the integration of all those things together. I'm also on social media, and you can find me at The Golf Paradigm. That's PARADIGM. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, also under the same name, The Golf Paradigm. Facebook is usually the best way to reach me for questions and or comments, and I look forward to hearing what all of you have to say. This podcast is brought to you in part by Old South Golf Links. A short ride across a bridge from Hilton Head Island is one of the area's finest golf courses and a hidden treasure. Set up on towering pines and ancient oaks with sweeping marsh vistas, truly makes Old South Golf Links a one-of-a-kind golfing experience. The Clyde Johnson design was named one of the top 10 new public courses when it opened, and it also takes full advantage of the natural beauty of the Low Country. Old South is a fun and unique challenge for golfers of every skill level and a favorite of both locals and visitors. Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular, you'll be treated and feel like family. From the bag drop to check-in at the fully stocked pro shop with both men's and women's apparel, to breakfast or lunch before or after your round, the staff is always ready and willing to help. Experience for yourself why Old South is one of the premier golf courses in the Hilton Head area and why it will quickly become a favorite of yours too. Visit them in person or online at www.oldsouthgolf.com, or to make it tee time, simply call the pro shop at 843-785-5353.